Some of you may already know that one of my favorite video games of all time is Banjo Kazooie, made by RARE-vival in 1998 for the Nintendo 64. I still have the very same cartridge which I had the first time I played it, with the Game Shop label that's fucking impossible to peel off. Borrowing the idea and concept of Super Mario 64, Banjo Kazooie managed to create a whole new genre, the 3D platforming Collectathon, my favorite video game genre of all time.
A collectathon basically means that you run around in the world trying to find as many collectible items as you can and use them for certain features in the game. And all of these items will be scattered around the world and you'll have to complete a bunch of tasks in order to get some of them.
But other than this game, its sequel, and Donkey Kong 64, we haven't really seen any game like this since. The genre pretty much died. But then, 17 years later, we can finally see the light. This, my friends, is Yooka-Laylee.
Story time! Back in the 90s, Rare developed the critically acclaimed Donkey Kong Country series for the Super Nintendo, and when the Nintendo 64 became the hot stuff, they developed tons of other amazing games such as GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing, Jet Force Gemini, Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and of course, Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie. Rare was basically the second golden half of the Nintendo 64, making sure that the system itself still stayed relevant, making so that people nowadays refer to these times as the golden days of Rare. But in 2002, RARE-vival was unfortunately bought by Microsoft to make them develop their games for their newly released console, the Xbox. And we all know how that turned out. We didn't really get the games we're all hoping for, some weird decisions were made within the company, and most fans pretty much lost all hope for a triumphant return of a fantastic gaming adventure. After a few years and after a whole bunch of RARE employees eventually left the company, fans could only sit and imagine what it would have been like if all these people just got together, created their own studio, making games that they loved like in the good old days. But that sounded too good for it to happen. But then, a glimmer of hope. In 2012, a Twitter profile by the name of Mingy Jungo, the same name of a character in Banjo Tooie, started tweeting with their bio that said, "Let's make a spiritual successor to Banjo Tooie. Core members of the original team are ready to go. All we need is your support, so join us today." People lost their shit. Fans would start to wonder what these guys were planning to do, but over the course of a few months, even a year, not much had been said, to the point where people thought they abandoned this idea. But then, the Kickstarter for Yooka-Laylee was announced, a true spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie. Being developed by the core members of the original games and other RARE titles, these guys created their own studio by the name of Tonic Games. These guys were in it not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Raising over $1 million in just one day and then in total $2.5 million led to show the gaming industry that people still wanted to see a game like this happen. And boy am I glad that it did. Ever since the Mingy Jungo Twitter, I've been on the edge of my seat just swallowing any sort of information of this game during its development. And now that it's finally released, I was ready to have a grand old time.
Now the internet is a nasty place, let me tell you that. If you've been interested in this game, then you might have seen some mixed opinions about this game. But if my opinion matters to you for some weird reason, then allow me to tell you this. Yooka-Laylee is now one of my favorite games of all time. Let me tell you why.
If you're still hesitating on getting this game, considering all the different opinions that have been swirling around the internet, then I'll also try to break down any concerns you might have regarding this game. And let me remind you that I've not been paid to say anything about this game. Why would I? This is not even a review copy. I backed the Kickstarter as soon as it started and I played the Steam version of this game, which meant that I had to wait another 18 hours for it to be released because they screwed up the launch dates and yeah, you might have seen my rant on Twitter while while this was happening. Anyway, Yooka-Laylee is a 3D platforming collectathon, branded as a true spiritual successor to the classic Banjo Kazooie. It has big worlds, tons of collectible items, and bad but charming humor. You control a chameleon and a bat by the name of Yooka and Laylee, a play on words of the instrument, the ukulele. This is a buddy duo much like Banjo and Kazooie. In the beginning, they're just chilling, having a fun time, when suddenly a very special book that Laylee obtained gets sucked up in the air, scattering the golden pages all around the place, and Laylee is not amused. Here we can see that the main villain is a big B called Capital B who runs a business where him and another villain called Dr. Quack are planning to absorb books all around the world, simply trying to take over the book industry. I wouldn't see that as a problem, really. We've got the internet nowadays.
What is a book?
So Yooka and Laylee sets off and breaks into Capital B's factory, the Ivory Towers, which is the hub world of the game, and they'll try to find the missing pages, more known as the Pages, and stop Capital B's evil plans. But all in all, the plot is not what's important. Being a collectathon, you would want to collect shit. So we've got the Pages, the equivalent of Jiggies in Banjo Kazooie, and then we've got the Quills, which is the equivalent of the music notes. These are the two most important collectibles in the game. You need Pages in order to open and expand worlds that you have to enter, and Quills to obtain new moves throughout the game. Now this all sounds like it's just Banjo Kazooie all over again, and yeah, it is. But there's so much more to it than that.
The general concept of the game is completely borrowed from Banjo Kazooie, yeah it is, but as for the rest of it, like for example, the most important element of a video game is, oh wait, what was it now again? Let me think. Oh yeah, the gameplay.
Tonic made sure that they renewed the gameplay mechanics while still keeping that simple touch, and in my opinion, they succeeded! You got your basic jump and spin and shit, but along the way you'll obtain a whole bunch of different moves that makes your gameplay experience much more satisfying than what it already is. You will encounter Trouser Snake, yeah that's his name, a scamming snake who tries to pave his way into the business market. This guy will sell new moves to you if you have the right number of quills required to purchase them. You can use your fucking tongue as a hookshot! These moves are necessary if you want to move forward in the game, and some moves you learn will only be obtainable later on in the game, and sometimes you need those later moves to grab a page from a world you've already been to, so you can't 100% complete one world during your first go. Nuh-uh, you'll have to come back later, buddy. What really confuses me the most is that a lot of people are saying that there's nothing new to the playstyle and that the gameplay is outdated. What the hell are you talking about? There's plenty of new shit! Aside from your standard glide, mid-air attack, and occasional ground pound, you can roll around, shoot a sonar explosion, run underwater, turn invisible, and again, use your fucking tongue as a hookshot! Swallow different plants and such to obtain a certain ability for a short while will allow you to solve quests and puzzles, similar to Super Mario Galaxy's different power-ups. You can shoot projectiles, breathe fire, water, or turn your body into iron to get past windy areas, or just smear your whole body with honey so that you can roll up certain slippery slopes. The roll is also one of your primary moves, which makes you go super fast and allows you to get past steep slopes. And this, as well as some other moves, are all powered by your power bar. So instead of collecting ammunition for your abilities, you have to rely on this energy bar. If you would run out of energy, you can find pink butterflies all around the world, or after beating a group of enemies. These butterflies also represent your health points. When using Yuka's tongue to swallow a butterfly, you'll gain a health point, and if you physically touch them, they will replenish your energy by a certain amount instead. And if you're worrying that there's little to no health and not a lot of energy, then don't worry your silly butt, you can expand both your health and energy bar by finding the health extender and the power extender in every world.
Look at that! More collectibles! That's a good thing!
Speaking of the worlds, let's talk about them. Yooka-Laylee's got 5 different worlds that you can enter, where you have to find pages and quills and other collectibles in order to progress in the game. We've got Tribal Stack Tropics, a jungle full of old temples and ruins. Glittering Glacier, where there's snow and ice and a mysterious little castle. Moody Maze Marsh, a spooky and dark swamp. Capital Casino, a crooked casino trying to devour your money. And Galleon Galaxy, a bay filled with pirates. But in fucking space. You enter these worlds via the Grand Tomes, and these worlds are normal in size, but after a few pages, you can go back and expand the Grand Tome and make the worlds much bigger. So from here on, you can complete the rest of this world's tasks. My favorite world must be Capital Casino. Why? Mostly because I really like casino-themed levels. Sue me. Now here's the thing that I think a lot of people got confused by with this game, and the fact that the worlds are generally pretty damn big, people sometimes make the misconception that these worlds got open world game aspects to it, which it doesn't, and it was never supposed to be. We've seen multiple open world games nowadays that we've grown so used to them, while the last time we saw a Collectathon was almost 2 decades ago, so a lot of people might think, oh, the worlds are too empty. This is a load of bullcrap. You're not supposed to follow the collectibles to explore the world, but you're supposed to follow the world to explore the collectibles. While people also complain that there were very few worlds in this game compared to Banjo Kazooie, there's one thing that makes up for it. The worlds in Yooka-Laylee are huge! When Banjo Kazooie had 10 jiggies and 100 music notes in each world, there are 25 pages and 200 quills to find in each world of Yooka-Laylee. Tonic is aware that the worlds are really big, so they filled all the different areas with shit to collect. While I also sort of hope that there will be more worlds in this game, I still thought that these 5 worlds were enough to satisfy little Swedish me. To retrieve the pages, you need to complete a bunch of tasks which are given to you by the inhabitants of these worlds, or sometimes you just have to go through a series of different obstacles to get them. These are scattered all around different areas in these worlds, so no, they're not empty. Only if you've collected something there, then yes, then it's empty. Because you were there. You wanna watch a flower grow or something? Another very common complaint I've heard is that people have had camera issues. This one baffles me still. Unless there's a huge difference between the console versions and the PC version, which is the one I played, then I really don't see the problem. If I'm correct, they released a day 1 patch that would fix most of these issues, and since I never experienced the game before this patch, then that just means that they fixed almost everything, if not all issues, because everything was smooth to me. Controlling Yooka and Laylee around the world while fighting enemies and jumping from platform to platform and just maneuvering them around the worlds was, again, nothing but a smooth experience for me. If people are only referring to the moments when there's a fixed camera angle in certain areas, then yeah, I can agree. I did stumble upon one problem with the first boss where Yooka and Laylee would run in the direction I'm pointing even if these 2 camera angles would collide with each other, but this was just once. Oh, you're having camera issues when you're trying to climb up this thing that you're not really supposed to climb? Gee, I wonder why! Jokes aside, you can half-ass your way by climbing on all kinds of flat surfaces which can take you up to places you're not really supposed to be able to get to yet. And there were a few occasions where I could get through a trial without the intended power-up needed, but I didn't feel that dissatisfied when this happened. I just saw it as a, well, now I don't have to come back for this later kind of situation. Although, this is something Tonic should keep in mind with their next game.
That's not really a glitch, that's just you outsmarting the game.
So how's the music? It's fucking phenomenal. Grant Kirkhope is back again and about time too, together with Donkey Kong Country composer David Wise and cameo composer Steve Burke. And every song catches the spirit and essence the same way the old songs did for Banjo Kazooie. I've been smiling and humming all these tunes for the majority of the time I played this game. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm friends with Grant Kirkhope and that I want to kiss his ass or anything like that, but ever since I was a child, I have loved his work and I still do. And 10-year-old me would get a heart attack if he heard that he would befriend him someday. It's true, we tickled beards once. Not just his work, but David Wise's tracks for the track segments will give you a great and nostalgic Donkey Kong Country feeling. The jingles for the collectibles make a return as well, and I swear whenever I grabbed the pagey, I would hum that jingle every single time it started playing. Okay, here's another complaint I've heard from people. The noises the characters make. Let me just say that if you think that this ruins the game, then you really don't deserve to play video games at all. Here they're trying to replicate the grunts and dialogue from Banjo Kazooie while making bad puns, subtle adult jokes, and all kinds of jokes where they break the fourth wall. Too many? This was annoying, which is weird because it's not meant to be taken seriously. You were the kind of person who took the DK rap seriously and thought it was stupid when it was intentionally supposed to be silly, huh? To me, I find them charming. Whenever they made a bad joke or whatever, I just sat there with a grin going, oh, you guys. Sure, the grunts can be a little annoying, but let me tell you a little secret that you can do whenever there's a dialogue going on and you don't want to hear them. Press A! If you press A, then you don't have to hear all the grunting noises and you can read whatever they're saying. But since you didn't care about the grunts, then I doubt you'd care about what they're saying either, you unfunny person, you.
Can you turn that down? I can't hear my poor brain think.
The task to collect the pages themselves is definitely the highlight of the game. The most important aspect of a collectathon being the best. Who knew? Every single page has its own unique task, which is why I wanted to collect every single one. You would be surprised by how there's so much variation to the tasks themselves. Even if some tasks are pretty short-lived unlike the long-formed ones, they're all still equally as satisfying. There are some reoccurring themes though. For example, we've got the Ghost Riders, which are the equivalent of the Jinjos from Banjo Kazooie. While these bastards are also waiting for you to collect them, they won't make it easy for you. The red one will start attacking you, so you have to kick his ass before you can collect him. The blue one remains invisible, only sending off a few giggles, so you have to use Laylee's sonar shot to reveal it. The green one just dodges you whenever you try to collect it, so you better be quick. The pink one just waits for you to feed him something and only then can you collect it. And the yellow one just wants to be collected, so he does absolutely nothing. This guy needs a hug. Other themes reappear throughout the game as well, like having to talk to cartos to beat the minecart segments in every world. Nice God of War reference, by the way. As well as finding the Tonic token and going to Rextro64's arcade machine and beat his minigames, as well as beating the high score. While I enjoyed some of these minigames, I do think that they were the weaker parts of the game, but it's good with some variation at least. And there are a few recurring characters that show up throughout the game, but all with different tasks. One of my favorite characters has to be Planker, who's a grumpy wooden sign who constantly mistakes Yooka and Laylee for garbage men or gardeners, and it's just straight off a rude person. Sign. We've got the Knights of Hamelot, who are just a group of pigs, and we've also got motherfucking Shovel Knight in here. That is awesome. Now transforming into different animals was one of the major features of Banjo Kazooie, so of course Yooka-Laylee would borrow that concept as well. By collecting the Mollycool in each world, you can head down to Dr. Puzz and have her transform you into all kinds of different things so you can collect more pages. You can turn into a flower, a snowplow, a group of piranhas, a chopper, and a fucking boat sailing the stars. There are also bosses that you have to fight, one in each world. While maybe one or two weren't all that special, the rest were a lot of fun to fight, and quite challenging. My favorite is the Capital Casino boss, simply called Inept. This guy is the security guard, and he has poor hearing and bad eyesight.
I see what you're doing there. He looks exactly like the Kinect.
Another character that appears here and there is Vendy. While probably being the scariest thing I've seen in this game, she is quite useful. She can provide you with all kinds of different tonics that you can equip, which will enhance your powers, and you can switch out these tonics whenever you want. Everything from carrying an extra health point, or increase your energy bar slightly, or the one tonic I mostly use throughout the game, the Hunter Tonic. This tonic will allow you to sense whenever there's a rare item nearby, and since I wanted to 100% complete this game, I went with that one for most of my playthrough. Now, if you really do want to 100% complete this game, then there's another type of collectible that you need to find. The Pirate Treasures. Each world has a skull-shaped item which are hidden pretty damn well. They don't really serve a purpose aside from getting those achievements, but let me tell you, they're really damn hard to find. I'm not gonna spoil for you where they are because I don't want to ruin the hunt for you. I stumbled upon the one in Tribal Stack Tropics by accident, and the Capital Casino one was just pure luck. The hunt for the last three was extremely difficult, but after 2 or 3 hours of searching, I finally found them in the oddest of places. I was so happy that I could run out on the street naked while cheering to my heart's content.
No, I'm not gonna film myself doing that, you sick bastard.
After the game's release and getting to play it, and then eventually beating it, there's one thing that I felt while playing it. I felt extreme joy. I know the members of Tonic really cares about reviving the 3D collectathon genre and getting it back into business, and I could clearly see all the love and care that was put into this game. Sure, there are a few problems as no game is perfect, but that didn't stop me at all. You might call me nostalgia blinded, and yeah, sure, I do have a lot of fond memories of old Rareware games, but let me tell you something. I love Battlefield 2. It was and still is one of my favorite games of all time. Then Battlefield 3 came out, and I hated it. I love The Legend of Zelda, ever since I was a little kid. Then Skyward Sword came out, and I hated it. I love the old Grand Theft Auto games for the PS2. Then GTA 4 came out, and I hated it. I love Banjo Kazooie, and now I also love Yooka-Laylee. Trust me when I say this. I feared that I wouldn't like this game. Getting too sucked into the hype is in most cases never a good thing. And I got sucked into the Yooka-Laylee hype so goddamn hard, so much so that when I finally got my hands on the game, I started thinking, what if I don't like it? Man, what if I hate it? But luckily that wasn't the case. Tonic made an excellent job in bringing us back to the roots while also keeping things fresh. And I can't wait for their next project. They really show that creating video games should be fun, and that playing video games should be all about exactly that. To simply have fun.
Alright, so I hope that I've shredded some light into this and helped you sort of figure out a decision of what you want to do. But please, please give this game a try. If you were a fan of all the old Rare games, then give it a try. You will most likely like it. If not, then you're kind of weird. And yeah, I know this video wasn't particularly funny or goofy like my regular videos. I just felt like getting real with this one, because a lot of people were having complaints about this game. And I wanted to debunk those complaints by laying down the truth!
Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys give this game a chance. But hey, like this video, share it with anyone who has any doubts about the game, and hit that little subscribe button. Go ahead and follow me on Facebook and Twitter, especially on Twitter, as I'll be posting news, updates, and other random shit. Also, I just started a Patreon page that you can check out if you feel like sending some extra support. Link is in the description.
And I wanted to debunk those complaints by laying down the truth! Ow! Plain